Hey guys, it's Darrell Gurney with the Back 40 broadcast, and we're doing some new stuff today. It's a new year, so why not try new things? And that's actually what today's Back 40 broadcast is all about. So you see me in a new little location here. We're going to try some new formats. If you're joining us live, kudos. I just put it in the newsletter today that we were switching from noon till 10:30 because we're going to do a Facebook live at noon. And anyhow, just thanks for coming. If you have been joining us in the past, just welcome again. We're always here every week to give you a nugget and a nudge to support you in creating your second half of life as your best half of life. Here in the Back 40, and you can find out more about us at theback40.com. Make sure you click below and grab your top 10 tips for a radical second half of life. And that pretty much tells you what we're all about. But here in the Back 40, we say that the best is yet to come. And babe, won't it be fine? And we're also absolutely convinced that you have yet to do what you came here to do. And we have yet to do what we came here to do. And together, we are of the conviction that we can play this second half out in a huge way. Just real quick, society kind of has it that, you come out gangbusters, 20s, 30s, and, you get yourself settled, you make your success and all that. And then 40s, 50s, 60s, society kind of says, we move up in that first half and then we start going down and out. But here, what we're about here in the Back 40 is that it is up and out, and you have yet to do what you came here to do. The first half has all been R&D, research and development, for you to discover what your real purpose is, what you're really here to do. So thanks for joining us. If you get the Back 40 Jolt newsletter at 10 a.m. Pacific time every Wednesday, then you'll already have a little heads up on what we're going to be talking about here each week. And in this 15 to 20 minutes, here, we're going to get more detail, kind of dig in a little bit more so that we can give you as much insight, awareness, ideas, ahas that you can take into your week. So today's newsletter that came out about 30 minutes ago was all about self-change leadership. So today I'm going to give you 5 points to take into this new year to support you in self-change leadership. Because here's the deal, at the end of last year, less than 2 weeks ago, and by the way, if you want to go back and look at my Jolt notes and Back 40 broadcasts for the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of great, material in there in terms of a mindset and an awareness to take into the new year of change and what we're committed to and what's going to be the best ways to bring it about. So now we're 11 days into this new year, and hey, all those changes that you took on, the things you were going to, make different in the new year. It's like, whoa, you're transformed now, right? No, because it takes time. And, self-change leadership is an idea that we want to really look at because, if you work for a company, or if you're part of an organization of some type or some institution tells you, you better change or we're going to change things around here. If it's important enough, like your job or your relationship or your driver's license, you change, right? Because something's kind of forcing it on you. And yet and I'm assuming, some folks here may not have taken on, new changes they're going to take on for the new year, new possibilities. And you know what? That's cool. What we're about here in the Back 40 is that you have yet to do what you came here to do. And if you're going to do that, then it's probably going to require some changes, some transformations, some growth, ever cycling upward consciousness on your part. So point being is if you did take some things on, then, a lot of times those are dead in the water, within the first couple weeks because we don't have anyone outside of us forcing it. And therefore, we might just give up, or we might just, say, yeah, that was a good idea, but I'm just kind of set in my ways. By the way, all these things I'm saying is so not our philosophy. It is the tendency as people get older to think, oh, I'm just set in my ways. This is the way I am. And we're just blowing that apart. We say that you can be and do anything you want in this second half. And it takes some mindset shifts, and it takes some new ways of approaching. So here's a few things to consider as you come into this new year and the roadblocks start to occur. Look, if you were already the way you want to be, and if you already had the things that you want to have, you wouldn't have taken it on. You wouldn't have taken on that there was going to be some change. There's going to be some growth this year. So the point being is, if you're going to grow, guess what? The obstacles are going to come. The universe is on your side. The universe is here to support you to have what you said you wanted to have. And yet the only way you're going to have that is when you're doing things differently. You're seeing things differently. You're operating differently. Because if you were already doing all that, you'd already have those things. Kind of makes sense, right? So the point being is that as we move forward with those intentions, goals, new ways that we're going to take on, here's five elements to support you in keeping on track, staying on the road versus ending up in the ditch the way most resolutions, changes do, often within the first 10 days of a new year. First, awareness. Look, you got to be the way you are by doing things the same way ongoingly. Unless you take on ways to keep yourself aware of the change that you're implementing, the new ways you're going to operate, the new things you're going to do, the new things you're going to take on, then guess what? It's just real easy for the old mindset and the old ways to just come back in. And it was kind of like a good, fun idea when it lasted a week before the new year, and you got all jacked up about how things are going to be so different. But unless you put structures in to support you in staying aware of this change that will not happen overnight, likely you're going to forget about it within the first couple of weeks. So, people sometimes make fun of Post-it notes on the medicine cabinet or whatever. But you know what? It's all good. Right up here, you can't see it. Wait, hold on. Whoa. Okay, over here. No, it's over here. Okay, over here, you can't see it. And I'm not going to move the camera because it'll throw everything off. I have a little poster that I've set up with my ways of being that I'm taking on this year. What I'm taking on to grow my awareness in my ways of being. And I talk about that a lot in last week's broadcast and last week's Jolt Notes. So go check that out. So the point is, I come in the morning and I look at that, and I take some time. And by the way, I set it up where when I walk into my office, I have to see it. So you want to set up these structures where you're almost falling over them. Like if you are going to set a Post-it note up on the medicine cabinet, stick it right in the middle because it'll irritate you and you got to read that thing to move it, right? So setting up structures to keep you aware. Also, have you told 7 of your closest friends, relatives, associates what you're up to, what the changes are that you're going to take on in this new year? You know what? Left to your own inner voices, your inner voice is so committed to comfort, okay? And even though you had this other little, champion voice saying, hey, we're going to change, guess what? That old habitual one will just take you out, okay? So go tell 7 of your closest people what you're up to in the new year. You want to be really bold? Don't just tell them, say, and I request that you stay on top of me, asking me about how that's going. Okay. So awareness, keeping yourself aware and setting up structures to keep you aware of what change that you said you're going to take on this year. Number 2, authenticity. What do I mean by that? I mean calling a spade a spade. You know, saying whether you did do what you said you're going to do or not. You know, did you get up and meditate at 6 a.m. every morning the way you said you would? Did you sign up for that salsa class? You know, did you institute a new way of talking to your loved one or a new structure? You know, being authentic about it. In other words, rather than, you know, rationalizing like, well, you know, I'm going to get to it or yeah, I kind of did it. You know, look, there's no judgment in this. This isn't about you being good or bad. It's just that until we can say what's true, what's actually so, then we can't actually impact anything. And it all stays in the gray. So being authentic, you know, and if you do have friends out there who say, hey, did you get out and run 3 times this week the way you said? Being straight. You know what? No, I didn't. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. And you know what I see is I need to build up my structures even more to make sure I get out and do that. Would you do me a favor? Would you call me at 6 a.m. in the morning? It's like, you know, hey, it depends on the level of friends you have. You know, you have some friends that are really committed to you, which, by the way, you want to be surrounding yourself with this year. You know, you can get that kind of support. But the idea is be authentic, call a spade as you're in this process of change. Okay. What's number 3? Acceptance. Change is not easy. If change was easy, we'd all have everything we want and we'd all be exactly how we want to be. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with who we are right now and what we have right now. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. And if you took on that this new year was about your growth, was about new possibilities, then, you know, you're taking on change. And you're not in the company where they're forcing it on you, and you're not dealing with the institution that's forcing it on you. And so accepting that, wow, I've taken on something that's, you know, not necessarily hard, but not necessarily easy. Okay. Accepting that there is a process of change and forgiving yourself. This is such a big deal. When I work with organizations, when I work with executives, when I work with private coaching clients, you know, one of the things I say is that, you know, to the degree that you want to change, you really want to be and do things different, you have to have an equal amount of self-forgiveness. Because without it, you want to change so much, but you don't have the self-forgiveness, you're just going to beat yourself up, make yourself wrong, and you're going to give up on the change. And so if we really want to take on a big change this year, then it's going to take just as much self-forgiveness of the process. So acceptance that it does take time, and acceptance that, you know what, sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. I always have said, you know, sometimes you eat the bear, sometimes the bear eats you. And nonetheless, that doesn't mean you're going to stop. First the awareness, then the authenticity of saying what's so, and then accepting, you know what, this is going to take some time. It won't happen overnight, and I'm going to forgive myself in the process. Then, number 4, absence analysis. It's not as complicated as it sounds. What I'm saying is, what's missing? What's missing? What's missing, the presence of which would make a difference? You know, are there structures not in place? You know, just a second ago when I was talking about talking to your friend and they said, hey, did you do those runs? And you said, no. Like, oh, there must be something missing that had me not do it. What do I now need to put in place? You know, your current structures and my current structures are set up around the old ways we've been. And so if we're going to be something other than we've been or do something other than we've done, It's going to require that we have structures that support that. You know, having that person call you at 6, making a deal with them and do something for them, you know, find out what they're up to and see what ways you can support them. But looking to see what's missing. Is there an attitude that's missing, like a mindset? Is there some kind of system that needs to be put in place? But just, you know, getting to the nitty gritty of, you know, what's missing here? I said I want to make this change. And yes, I can, you know, tell the truth that I haven't done it yet. And I can forgive myself. What do I need to put in place so as to support me in making the change? And drum roll number 5, activation. Activating it. Taking whatever you saw that was missing and putting it in place. And then get out there on the playing field and play again. Put it in place. And, you know, a lot of times people will do this for a little bit and then they say, oh, well, it just wasn't meant to be. I've tried different things. It just isn't working. And so they stop on the activation and they stop on these 5 elements. I call it the 5A method for self-change leadership. Where I grew up in Texas, the 5A schools were the big schools, right? Big player. So if you want to keep playing this 5A method ongoingly and not stopping, because think about it. If you activate and it's still not playing out the way you want it to play out, you're still not producing the results you want to produce, all you do is you go back through all of these again. First, be aware. Be aware. Then get authentic about what is or isn't working again, what you are or aren't doing again. Accepting that, okay, I'm a little further along than I was last time I went through this 5A process. Not there yet. Keep forgiving myself. Let's see what's missing now and implement that. Activate. So this is what I'm doing this year. And I encourage you as a Back 40 flyer and go join us. Go to theback40.com, sign up for your top 10 tips for a radical second half. Get on our blog, subscribe to our blog. There's so much amazing, empowering, inspiring stuff that's being written there. We have programs this year that will support you as much as you want to play big as well. And let's have this be the year that we are on track, becoming more and more who we said we wanted to be, so that we can do what we came here to do. So before you go, make sure below you grab your top 10 tips for a radical second half. Come back next week. We'll be here same time, 10:30 a.m. with some more nuggets and nudges so you can create your second half as your best half. Have a radical, radical, radical week. And I'm going to end with some music from our good friend Paul Hoffman. And this music is just really all about what this second half is about. So enjoy this. It's called It's My Time. It's coming up. Well, I thought it was. Guess what? Since I have my outside mic hooked in, it isn't working. So I'll find a way to make that work for you next week because it's a great song. Have a great week. Live radically.